Hey, how is it going, everyone? Welcome back. This is Let's Talk About It, and I'm your host, JR Wisdom, and we have a special guest tonight, as you see. You know
What's up?
what's happening. The lovely Avery Woodley. You
How
know,
are you?
I'm great. She's making a guest appearance tonight, guys. So just so you
R-
know,
Right, in this football onesie. Because if you're a
I,
football fan, you know some games on tonight. So I'm
I-
wearing this. I was trying to drop it down to make it kind of sexy, like adultish like, but this microphone's kind of weighing it
yeah, that microphone. They're gonna be on the lookout for that tonight. You know what
down.
I'm saying?
Right.
They're gonna be on the lookout for that. But as you can see, guys, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hit that like and subscribe button as well. Also as usual, this is a live show, so we're gonna be having some calls here for a limited time only tonight. This is the return of Avery Woodley, as you guys see, and we're just gonna be covering, real quick, lessons learned, reflecting at 40, because I think it's dope that Avery actually tells you guys how old she is, even though she doesn't look that, for sure. But she just had a birthday, for those of you who didn't know, and I just had a birthday 2 weeks after her. So
Oh my gosh, you did. We're
yeah,
both 40.
I know, right?
Happy belated birthday. Like you
Thank
just
you.
recently had a birthday.
Yeah, on the 13th, this
Yeah,
past
okay.
Friday. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
Friday the 13th, and yours is on the 31st, right? New
Yes.
Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she's a New Year's Eve baby. So we're 40. Don't feel like it. You know what I mean? I'm feeling awesome. I know you've been getting compliments left and right. About that.
Oh, I
About
get a few.
no, yeah. What are they telling you these days? 21? What's up?
No, it's so funny. So when people say something about me being like, "Oh, I thought you were in your 20s," I'm like, I feel like that's pushing it, right? I do feel like it's pushing it. I mean, to me, like I know amazing looking 40-year-olds.
Right.
Maybe there's not a lot now. Granted, I have 3 kids, right? So
Hmm.
40 looks different on some women that have had 3 kids. So I get that. I definitely do not think that I look like I'm in my 20s. I would say mid 30s. Mid 30s. People get shocked all the time, and I'm like, you guys, you better stop gassing me up.
Yes. So not so you just keeping it. You're just being modest right there by saying that. So you wouldn't even say early 30s.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, you just
I
don't
do,
want to
but
say
you
it.
know what? I do know some old looking 30-year-olds and 20-year-olds
For sure.
for sure. I'm like, dang, like you didn't had a hard life, like just
Yeah,
hard looking. So I
for
don't know.
sure.
I take the compliments. I do believe that I look decent for my age, right?
Hmm.
I feel like I'm trying to age backwards a little bit, but
Indeed.
it's a feeling. So the outside matters, but the inside's what counts. And I think that helps, helps the
Hmm.
glow.
And that's what we're shooting for. So you look awesome. Obviously, I'm pretty sure everybody agrees with that as well.
Well, you look awesome as well because you don't look 40.
I know I get it all the time. I'm gonna
No,
go
you
ahead.
really
I'm gonna go
don't.
ahead and have it. I'm gonna go ahead and embrace it right there. Be like, I
Yeah,
thought
for
you
sure.
were.
You don't. You look, I would give you late 20s,
Hey, I'll
like
take it.
27, 28.
I'll take it. You know what I mean? I'm feeling that. I get
Take
carded
the
all
run
the
with
time.
it.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody said she could easily pass for late 20s.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, thank
Hey,
you.
shout out to Randy Singh. Guys, go ahead and comment below where you guys are checking in from, age, sex, location, all those great things one time. So Avery, you see I reached out to you yesterday when we were talking about this, and I just thought it was a cool topic to talk
Hmm.
about for those who may be watching, may be interested in, are still the younger generation here.
Right.
I just kind of like wanted to reflect on a few things as you come of age to this beautiful age of 40 for you personally. what
Hmm.
what has, when you look back on the times of
Hmm.
adulthood for the past 22 years, if you will, right?
Right.
What's some things that stick out to you that you're like, man, I wish I knew this? Or do you think it's all divine timing and that what happened was supposed to happen? Or what's some lessons learned?
No, okay, so absolutely not. I do, I 100% believe in divine timing, but I also believe in giving room for human error. And when I say human error, I mean choices that we make. Sometimes we go down the wrong road. I'm stubborn.
Mhm.
So it takes me a while to like I wrestle with myself. I just wrestle with things, right? So it takes me a while to you know, go down the right path sometimes, right? And
Mhm.
so I spent a lot of time, I would say, in my 30s, going back and forth with myself, right?
Mm.
And there were some choices that I made that I probably should have made another choice. There were some choices that I made that I know were aligned with divine timing. They were supposed to happen. I was supposed to make that decision. And one of the biggest things, though, that I felt kind of kept me stagnant, or that I would look back on over my 20s and 30s that I wish I would not have done, was I got help too late. Well, not too late, but I do feel like I got help too late. So there were certain things based on the way I was raised that I overlooked for so many years.
Right.
And then when everything came to a head in my mid 30s, there was a lot of stuff that could have been avoided if I would have addressed it sooner. Right? So I was just like sweeping stuff under the rug and like, oh no, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And there's just certain stuff that when it came to a head, it came to a head. And I'm like, damn, like I should have stopped some years back and started holding myself accountable for things, started, like the whole self-reflection, just stuff that a lot of us don't do until later in life. I mean, you hear about it now, but we don't do it until later in life. And so I learned some stuff, the hard way. I've definitely had some pains that I feel like could have been avoided if I would have made certain choices. Like as far as, I didn't know about the whole feminine energy. I was operating in my masculine. I was really strong. And I spent so many years of my life in that space that I felt like, it just kind of like not messed some stuff up, but it did. And then I was just a late bloomer. And then I finally got it after everything blew up, and I kind of went down a rabbit hole, but.
And this happened in mid 30s, you said?
Well, it started coming to it, like the huge thing, like divine, like was mid 30s, right? It started happening kind of, coming to a head early 30s. But there's just stuff that I feel like a lot of us avoid because we feel like we're going to have time, right? There's a lot of things that we spend a lot of years. I do feel like, as far as, especially like I can speak for myself as a woman, passing stuff off, passing the blame, and it takes us a while before we can get to a space where we're mature enough to sit with ourselves. And one thing that I try to tell women, especially younger women now, is sit down with yourself and start looking at yourself in the mirror before the divorce, before the kids, before the marriage, before the, you know what I'm saying? Start doing it early on. So when you get to these phases, like when it comes to like your work and your personal life and your marriage and all of that kind of stuff, you're better equipped to handle certain stuff and to see stuff from a different lens instead of being so like kind of self-centered and woe is me. That's my take. Like that's one of my biggest things.
So Divine, what's your thoughts on, like, because I know you say you believe in that. How much of a part do you think that played in it?
I can't give like a percentage. It did play a big part because I do believe that like, we can take our choices, give us a detour, right? We will eventually come back a lot of times to what is supposed to happen. But like my choices made me take probably like a longer detour than it should have been. I mean, it all came together, but maybe like half, but like I wrestled with myself. I really wrestled with myself, and I completely, like, I didn't know who I was for like the longest time, right? Like, and of course we're ever changing, but I completely lacked accountability in a personal relationship with myself. I just kind of like lived for other people and was like in the moment, right? And you waste time that you're not going to get back. Time is one thing that we cannot get back.
For sure.
So,
man, me personally, like, I was like, I definitely say I was selfish.
Right.
With a lot of stuff, I was selfish. That whole getting help, that was a no-go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You're not doing that.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. Like the whole therapy, let's do therapy, let's do this. And I'm like, I'm not about to do therapy. You need therapy.
Yeah.
That's the type of dude I was. I was like, you need therapy, and I had lived this stoic life for so long because, and I talked about it. I think we talked about this on a few of these live streams where my family, my mother didn't never said I love you, and never
Yes.
she was never like a coddling type person. She was just
Hmm.
because her mother didn't do that to her.
Yeah, so
So
she
I
didn't know
was
how to nurture you. Hmm.
yeah, so I wasn't on that type of time. So even when I got married, which was super young at 19, I didn't know nothing about being a husband. You know what I'm saying? I
Yep.
just thought because I was in the army, this is the thing to do. I like this girl. You know what I'm saying? Let's
Hmm.
get married. And I was not what a husband should have been to a young woman like that, or any woman in general. But
Do you
just
feel so sorry to interrupt, but I have a
no,
quick because I don't
go
want to
for it.
lose my train of thought. So no disrespect, but do you feel on that note when you said, okay, like you were 19, you were in the
Mm.
military, and it's this girl, so I'm gonna do I'm gonna do the right thing, I'm gonna get married, and you were like, I was not yet not husband material, but do you think it was because you were not yet a man?
Not a man. I didn't know what loving someone looked like,
Okay.
and I just wanted a family. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I just wanted a family. I wanted a family unit, because I didn't have that
Right.
when I reflect back on it, and I just liked this girl. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So definitely didn't know anything about being a man, as you said. I we were kids.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about saving money and all this stuff like that.
Hmm.
And we're basically learning this thing, dead reckoning, early on. So she's a woman, she's emotional. I don't know the ways of a woman at the time. You know what
Yes.
I mean? So
Hmm.
I didn't know about listening, and especially active listening, and basically what a woman needs from a man. I had no clue about any of that, which when I reflect on it, I'm like, I look at a lot of stuff and I'm like, she was there. She was much further along than I was,
Okay.
obviously. And I was just like, only time I was lovey-dovey was in bed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
No idea of what intimacy is, right?
no,
It's just like, okay, let's get it started.
let's get it in and do that. And having kids and not even really knowing, even though I love my kids and things
Right.
like that. But it was basically an emotional wreck. I was so focused on being this perfect soldier and excelling through
Mhm.
the ranks as quickly as possible. By the time I look back, it was like, who is this guy? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was a big thing with me reflecting back on it, and me going through a divorce, having
Mhm.
to have basically all these feelings and emotions just dumping, just basically just uncovering or unmasking at that point,
Yes.
which was terrifying for me, especially being a single parent with
Yep.
that going on at the time also. So that was something heavy, and me not knowing how to deal with that, me never feeling a lot of these things, and
Mhm.
having to learn this without this other person that I thought, that was supposed to be my spouse. But addressing that and still not doing therapy, you know what I'm saying? Just
Yeah.
doing the I did my own self searching and soul searching,
Mhm.
things like that. And kind of figured out a lot of things. And basically you look back on, once you start learning these things, what you did wrong, and how to be more empathetic, which is another
Yes.
thing I want to bring to you is because I heard there's a study, and I looked at it before we went live here.
Okay.
The older you get, especially at the age of 40
Okay.
specifically, but the older you get, and it wasn't just for men, but people kind of harp on this because they say, many women are empathetic. The older
Okay.
you get, the more empathy you have as you get older.
Mm.
Um, and this specifically in the study I was reading was at the age of 40 was when
Wow.
it really starts to progress faster in terms of the empathy that you do have for other people, situations, things like that. I notice, like, as I get older, not only the fact I got kids, but I hate to hear anything, and I'm just giving this as an example.
Right.
Anything about a child being abused or kidnapped, or even on movies. When I watch movies and a child is being kidnapped, I can't even. I'll
Oh,
leave the
I
room.
can't.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
I'll leave.
Yeah.
I'll leave, and none of that's ever happened to me or anything, and
Yeah.
never to me and my children. But the older I get, just things like that I notice, and even people on the street, things occurring, and I automatically feel a certain way, or just when I see somebody, or
Mhm.
I'm more willing to help people. Not that I was an asshole all before, but I'm more willing to do these things as I get older.
Right.
Um,
Do you
paying
think that's from
Go ahead.
It's funny that you said it. The study said, like, specifically kind of like at the age of 40, it starts
Yeah,
taking a turn to where you
that's what
start
it said.
having more empathy.
Right.
Do you think, I mean, well, you've noticed when you start to have more empathy, do you think a part of it is because of just life lessons, right? Like the stuff that you talked about from like the marriage and all that kind of stuff, right? Do you think it's just in the soul searching, which I know you're very in tune with yourself now, and that's something that you consistently work on? Do
Right.
you think that's all a part of it? So the life experiences plus the accountability and personal development and soul searching, do you think that has led to you to be, more empathetic, or to see, and to see stuff, like you said before, you were more selfish, right? And
Right.
when you're selfish, it's my world and you're living in it.
Absolutely.
So with all of that growth and you evolving into a man, do you think it kind of opened your eyes to see stuff, you know what I'm saying, to be able to see and feel, and that's also what led to your, being more empathetic?
I think you hit it on the head with everything you said. You're absolutely right. I think all those are contributing factors, including the journey, the
Mm-hmm.
spiritual journey per se, was contributed to that. And it's what does it say biblically? In scripture, opens your chest, or opens your
Yeah.
chest, or broadens your chest, or
Yeah.
things like that. As opposed
Mm-hmm.
to, was it God hardening Pharaoh's heart as opposed to softening his heart, and things like that over time.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I think it's all those things,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. But in the past few years, for sure, it's just those things have been occurring, and I've been noticing that within myself, that this is
Mm-hmm.
how, and it's not that I like it. You know what I'm saying? It's not a
Yeah.
bad thing. I'm not like, oh man, I'm getting soft, I'm washed up. You know what I'm saying? For being that way.
No, to me, it adds to you. It adds to you who you are as a man. It's another level of being a man and just being a human being, right? Like you're opening up another thing. If anything, it makes you even better, right? It's like, yes, I can be strong, I can do this, but then I can also be empathetic. I also have compassion. It's the best of both worlds, I would
Right.
say. It's like it brings everything full circle. If you start to become even more well-rounded.
You use that word compassion. That's the word I was looking for,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of having, more compassion and things like that. Somebody brought up the word, which I mentioned the other day, an altruist, which I had to look that up.
Mm-hmm.
Altruism, which, almost, you could almost think it's empathy, but it's two different things in
Mm-hmm.
terms of that. Which I think is very important. But something else, like, I talked about this a lot, and this is strangely enough, because we got some horn dogs watching, and you got guys that do watch me and things like that. And
Okay, let's talk about it.
yeah, it's sex doesn't bring you peace. Sex does not. And I've said this, I think, when I first started my channel like 5 years ago. Sex does not bring you peace. Doesn't matter how much sex you have, um, how many women you've been with. It just doesn't bring you peace. You could literally have a new woman every day, and it can be mind blowing sex, and then with 5 to 10 minutes later, you're just like,
You're over it. So I
that's
have
why.
a question. Since we're talking about sex.
Yeah, because this, I'm reflecting back on as a 40-year-old, and
Yeah.
how much I love my solitude,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to um
Yep.
bringing different energies and just having sex with someone, and it's just like, I'm over it. I'm literally over it,
Uh-huh.
as opposed to, like, I thought it was like in my 20s. I'm like, oh man, I hate to say it like that. I'm in my 20s, and I'm just like, or when I first got divorced and things as well, I'm just like, oh man, I gotta get with it as many. I gotta have a starting five,
Right.
which I tell fellas now, if you're dating, get a starting five, because
Oh, I do. I absolutely believe that. Do not get no both
you
feet
know
in,
what?
keep 1 foot out.
Say that again. I didn't catch that
I
one.
said, do not put both feet in and keep 1 foot out.
There you go,
No,
fellas, because
seriously. I mean,
women.
seriously, and we can get to that. But after being married, that's one thing I do not believe in, giving certain treatment and
Mhm.
doing certain things, committing yourself fully when you're not married. If you're not a husband, or you're not a wife, and it doesn't mean like roles and certain duties, but I mean seriously committing your whole heart to someone. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean to be dishonest. Like, let them know, hey, I'm dating people, right? Like, I'm not looking for marriage or whatever. But yeah, back to the starting five. Definitely have a starting five. And now you're at the age where you seek peace more over
Absolutely.
Keisha, Linda,
I don't care about none of that.
Tanya, Diane, and all of them, right? A different girl every day of the week.
Exactly. I don't care about none of that. And it's almost it's a time wasting thing with, you know, useless, meaningless conversation.
Yes.
Also, like the back and forth. Hey, which I'm not that, and I'm gonna be covering a lot more because I'm getting away from the fuckery that I've been doing with all this reaction stuff. Even though I do drop jewels, I'm just gonna focus on. I'm just for everybody watching. I'm focused more on kind of like what you're doing, self improvement for men
Yes.
though, and dating instead of just the fuckery that I've been doing. But you know, you don't the conversations that you're had. It's repetitive. You know, and when you're dealing with different multiple women, it's kind of like you're doing it's like copy and paste a lot of times.
Yes.
And you can set your watch to it, and you get bored for me personally as a man, you get bored like texting and how are you? You know, I don't care how you're doing. I do, but I don't.
Yeah.
You know, what's going on? How's this? And it's just I'd rather just not talk to anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it gets old, and it's just like I'm way past the convincing stage. You know what I mean? I'm way past that at this point in my life, as opposed to back in the day when I first got divorced. I'm looking to impress a woman, prove myself to her, and the neediness that I did have because I didn't know what I was doing. So I was like super needy, you know what I mean? And which is a turnoff, fellas, if you didn't know. You know, as far as women being needy, you know, it happens. It's a turnoff too, but I think men are more forgiving. And they tend to use that against a woman in terms of her neediness. You know what I mean? So that's definitely one thing. Sex will not bring you peace, like overall, and it's not the end goal in life at all. And I can tell you that at 40. You know what I'm saying? It's not it. Even though some women will think you're trying to do this and you're trying to fuck this bitch, and you know, I'm just like, bro, I just want to get to my bed. You know, I just want to kick my feet up. I want to have a nice cold drink. You know, I can cook for myself. I've been cooking for myself for years, and I'm an excellent cook. And chef something up and go kick my feet up. I don't care about, you know, blah blah blah. You talking to somebody? I can't talk on the phone with you all day. You know, you know, you know. And I know women run into this.
You know what though, JR? I think like when it comes to that, like you said, like sex isn't the end game, obviously. You know what I'm saying? Like it's important. It's not the end game.
No.
What you said about exchanging energies. That's one thing that people need to, like, we don't talk enough about. We talk about sex in songs and we have sex, but we don't really talk about sex, right? We don't talk about sexual wellness. We don't talk about when you sleep with someone and if you feel drained and not in a good way, right? If a man has sex with a woman and you feel drained, you do not feel productive, you do not feel energetic, you do not feel like you can go out and conquer the world, that means that you were not sexually aligned with that woman, right? And she actually took something from you. And the same thing goes for a woman.
Right.
When a woman gets done sleeping with a man, you should feel a different type of drain. You should feel at peace. It usually should calm us down, not have us so like, you know, anxious and all over the place. But if you don't feel that when you get done, like you're not sexually compatible, right? You're not sexually aligned. And we don't talk about that. So a lot of us are out here just like the meaningless, empty conversations. You spend time having meaningless, empty sex. And it constantly takes something from you. And as you start to mature, like you have, right, as a man, once you start to mature, you also become more grounded and in tune with yourself, and you know who you are. And so you actually, and with the soul searching that you do, I mean, you know, we both are kind of like on the same thing. You actually start to fall in love with yourself. That's really what self-love is. It's not just like, oh, I'm gonna go on a trip and I'm gonna go to the spa. No, like self-love is really, it's the uncomfortable stuff, right? The stuff that JR talked about, like reflecting after his marriage and just like the fuckery and the foolery, like reflecting on all of that also, that's what makes you fall deeper in love with yourself, but that's what gets you to know who you are. And once you start to know who you are and you're complete, it doesn't mean that you're saying like, oh, I never need a companion. It just means that if I don't want any companion because I'm good with me right now. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm at peace with me. I enjoy myself. I can sit up in the house. I don't have to be like, oh, it's quiet. Let me go, you know, let me go to the bar. Let me go find a girl. And the same thing goes for myself as a woman, but then you get with people, right, who are not in that space yet, even if they're similar in age.
For sure.
And that's when they bring like, they want to talk to you all the time, or they want to, do whatever. It's because they're almost not enough on their own. Like they don't understand that piece. And that's something that I feel like not only comes with like age, I mean, it comes with age and life lessons, but really being able to be at peace with yourself and love yourself. And I had a client recently, she's had, serious, like we're going to have to talk about this, right? She has had some crazy guys who have tried to like wife her, right?
Okay.
She started working with me on like connecting to her feminine energy and healing. And she has been attracting, job promotions, just all types of stuff, all good things coming her way. And probably men that a lot of women would be like, oh my gosh, why wouldn't you talk to him? Right. And it's not that she doesn't, she doesn't want a companion. She doesn't believe in love. She wants all of that. But she was like, you know what? She was like, Avery, right now, she was like, it took me so long to get to this part of me becoming a woman and being completely like in tune with myself. She was like, and these are people that they're amazing men. She said, but they're still like not my person. They're not for me. And so there's no point in me stringing them along. Extravagant gifts, like all types of stuff, right? That they've tried to do. That, like I said, most women would be like, oh my God, jump on it. But she knows who she is. So she's like, okay, I appreciate this. I see what I'm attracting. Thank you all, but no, thank you. She was like, because right now she was like, I really just need to be in this space and place with myself because it took me so long, to get here. And when the time is right, then I'll make the next, step. But she even knows at that spot, you know what I'm saying? And with these amazing suitors, if we're going to call them that, that people would rave about, she still knows that like, okay, if there's no connection there, she's at a space where if there's no connection, if we're not aligned, I'm not going to waste my time because I can't get that back. Like you said, like you're cool, like sitting at home, pouring yourself a cold drink and sitting up, watching TV, doing whatever, and just like being at peace with yourself. There is nothing. That's one thing about, I think I've realized, and it was amplified at 40, not to sound cliche. Baby, I'm not letting nobody or nothing but my kids disrupt my peace.
Right.
And when I say that, just because I'm responsible for, you know what I'm saying? Like, but other than that, anybody and anything that brings me any type of peace, that disrupts my peace, anything that brings me any type of uneasiness or anything, I want no parts of it. Because it cost me something, like it literally cost me something to get this and to get here. And I refuse to like have it interrupted.
Absolutely. You mentioned something just now though. I think a lot of people, and you say they haven't, and I'm going to use evolved.
Yes.
So some people can't be alone. Some people can't be by themselves. They're not to say that they're exactly codependent, but they always have to be talking to someone. They're afraid to be alone.
Yes.
And I was like that at one point. I didn't want to be alone. I had to be talking to somebody until I got to that point where it's like, bro, this is not where it's at. You got to get over this. You got to, and eventually I made it to that point. You know what I mean? And as you say, some people, you can get into a relationship or start talking to someone that you think is like the same age as you, and you see these layers being unveiled, and you're like, man, you got these issues going on, you got this. I mean, I'm not perfect, you know what I mean, but damn, we're the same age and you got this stuff going on, you know what I mean? Got some serious issues out here. And it's like, wow, I don't need to. If I indulge in this and I absorb any of this, then like you said, I'm giving something away.
You are.
I'm giving my energy away to you, and I'm listening to this. And not only that, you have to listen to this shit. You know what I'm saying? You have to listen to this shit, the problems and stuff like that. Another tip, I'm not saying, fellas, ladies, I'm not saying don't communicate with your partner, but if all you have to bring is negativity or something that's going to bring their vibration down, you shouldn't be with anybody like that anyway. You know what I mean? That's always bringing that and dumping it on you. What they call it, emotional debris, as they say, is what you're collecting. And that's definitely a no.
Like that's, you know what? And it's crazy because I know a lot of people currently that, hold on,
no, you're good.
Oh my guys, I have my window up because I got this on because I was whatever,
You
right? I
always got
decided
that
we're
window
talking
up.
about being mature and I'm like a woman and I'm evolving continually and I'm in a football onesie. But anyway, it was hot and I had my window up and I could hear my neighbor.
Yeah.
But when what I was saying is that what was I saying? See, I'm 40.
No, we were talking about people dumping their emotional debris on you and stuff like that, and you were
right.
I think you were segueing.
Okay, so so when you were talking about how some people don't like to be, a lot of people don't like to be alone, and how you can be, you can be with a 40-year-old woman and or whatever, somebody similar in age. Age has nothing to do with it. But I know a lot of people who are our age, right, and a little bit older, who still do not like, who they are literally afraid to be alone.
Yes.
And the shit that they have coming their way with the people they talk to is absolutely ridiculous. I'm like, dang, you want to spend this half of your life doing that?
Yes.
Like, you ain't like, isn't that exhausting? Like, when I tell you so much stuff, and they'll say because they are afraid to be alone, so they'll just be with anybody. Like, they'll just be with anybody. And I just I'm like, you have got to get to a point, but these are also people who don't know themselves, right?
Yeah.
It's something they haven't done the hard work, right? So when you don't sit with yourself, when you have yet to look in the mirror or whatever, a lot of times, then you want to deflect from who you are and the things that you have going on. And you like to occupy your time and space with other people and with other stuff. And whenever there's any type of silence, it's like, because you have to start facing stuff, right? Like a lot of people actually kind of went crazy. That happened during COVID. When COVID first happened, a lot of people who were used to being on the go and doing all types of stuff, they were like, I had to sit at home and I had to sit with myself. And a lot of people went through like a lot of harsh stuff and a lot of everybody was coming out like reflecting, because so many people that were used to like, oh, I'll do this, I'll do that, and I'll just go. And all I do, and then I'll come home and I'll sleep. They were like, no, you got to sit here. There's only so much time to like watch something, but you have to sit with yourself. And when you haven't done that yet, and you continue to run from yourself, you will try to find, your peace or whatever you think you need in all these other people who just end up taking the life from you. They suck the life out of you. They don't do anything but bring you hell. And I do feel like there's an age where you get too old for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do honestly feel like more people need to know about facing themselves earlier on. I mean, and you continue to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like every day, like right now, I'm battling myself with some, old mindsets and some old ways that I have when it comes to, like my work ethic and just, imposter syndrome and all that kind of stuff. Right. So you're continually facing yourself. You're continually holding yourself accountable. It's something that you should do, like maintenance, right? You put gas in your car, you get your oil change.
Yeah.
You should constantly hold yourself accountable. But a lot of us, we don't do that until we're forced to do that, right? Until something like devastating happens or life-changing. And I just think that that's something that we need to teach earlier on, because it helps everything. It helps, guys develop into, boys develop into men, or males develop into men, females develop into women. It helps with your professional life. It just helps in all areas once you're able to work on your relationship with yourself and face yourself and hold yourself accountable. Keep the things that are right and that are good, right? And correct the things that you need to. It helps with your healing earlier. We can stop fucking with people in relationships, you know what I'm saying? Hurt people.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of stuff that I feel like we could deal with earlier than later. But yeah, baby, I will not like, I don't mind. Like I told myself, I was like, I'm like over, like I got to the point where I was over dating, right? Like I've never been a dater, like I don't have the energy. Like I don't like giving my energy to different men. I've never been that type of person. Even when I was 16, I was never like boy crazy. I'm not like that with friends either. Like I like to be around a select few.
Yeah.
But even when it comes to people are like, oh, do this, do this when I first got divorced, right? People were like, oh, what about this person? I had men coming at me from this. And then people were like, do this. Like I never got in a dating app. I never did any of that. And I'm like, look, like the energy that you have to give out and that you have to spend and like the conversations and then like just the sitting up with people, I was like, I don't want to do that. Like I love, I love relationships, but like I don't, like I don't want to do that. And I'm not technically single now, but you know.
No, I can dig it. That back to this, you said these hell raisers that like there's an age limit on it. You mentioned something about people like at this age you still
Mhm.
like cutting up like this, and I was having a conversation, and it's strange enough you have people that still in their 50s and 60s still raising hell, still gossiping, even 70s. You know what I'm saying? My mom was one of them.
Ooh,
still,
wait, I
still,
cannot take it.
yeah, that's what I'm like. How in the hell? Like, at what point do you stop? What point do you stop, man? Just like, yo, let me just enjoy life. Why do I have to keep something going? Like, you hear about these people who are older and mean and
They don't have no
surly,
peace. A
don't
lot of
have
them
no
don't have
peace.
any peace. They haven't done the work that we've talked about. Just because you're 70 or 60 does not mean you're wise. You could be an
Yeah,
old fool. Ain't nothing like an
absolutely,
old fool.
absolutely.
Not I'm not calling your mom a fool, but
No,
I'm
no,
just
no.
saying.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm just telling it like it is. You said what it is. And that's exactly what it is.
Hmm.
But you mentioned something also about the being alone, right? And because I look at this like because I used to be in the finance industry in terms of credit or whatever, right?
Okay.
Being alone, I got too much time. I have to spend it with someone. I have to be around somebody. I have to either go to the club. I can't be by myself. When you were saying that, I was thinking about like a lot of my clients in the past, including those that were trying to buy a house.
Hmm.
They start getting all this money. Income tax time is coming up, right?
Hmm.
You start getting all this money and you just spend it. Like I have this money in my account. I spend it. I've had women tell me, and I'm saying specifically women because 99% of my clients were women,
Okay.
and they would be like, I just don't know how to save my money. Like
Hmm.
literally, they would say, I just don't know how to save my money.
Hmm.
And it's like I have this money, I have to spend it.
Right.
It just cannot be in my account. It has to go. You know what I'm saying? One of those things. So I'm thinking of the mindset. I know there's a term for it, but I think it's similar to what it was that you were saying because that triggered that thought. Like
Right.
I just can't. Like I gotta. You know, this is too much. You know what I'm
It's
saying? I
like they
can't.
get the itch, right? Like
Yeah.
if you have like somebody that's like fiending, like right, it's like, oh, I gotta spend the money. You know what I'm saying? Or if it's like, oh, I'm by myself, I have time. Let me go do this, this, and this. And it's like, sit your ass down.
Sit
Like,
down. Sit down.
peace be
Relax.
still. Like literally, peace be
Relax.
still.
I see you, Calvin. I'm gonna bring you on here shortly, man. Me and Avery still, we still running through some things here. Go rub some feet.
I do have another sex question, but I'll keep that to. I'm gonna wait
Go,
until.
no, go for it. I'm still talking about that. Go for it.
Okay, so real quick, hate to bring it back, but guys, I know we're kind of all over the place, but this is just stuff, reflecting at 40.
Absolutely.
So when it comes to first I'll ask like this basic question, right?
Hmm.
So as far as your want or your hunger or your desire or need, whatever you want to call it, right? Do you feel like it has increased or gone down? And that doesn't mean just because it's increased doesn't mean that you're like out here with random women, right? Because you can have something like your sex drive increase and you're not necessarily out here having sex with people, right? But do you feel like any of that has increased or has it gone down?
Um, that's a very good question. Um, I think it's gone down, but I wouldn't say my libido has gone down, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah.
The need for it is not there. Like you hear some people like saying they're having sex every day, or
Mm-hmm.
even when they're in a relationship, they're having sex every day. I was like, how in the hell, or multiple times a day? I'm like, how in the hell can you do that? I'm good, maybe twice a week,
Right.
tops. So if that's less, maybe so, but I'm just good at that point. So I guess in terms of that, I don't have that desire, but like back to what you asking that question, and
Mm-hmm.
when you were saying this earlier in terms of giving, like there were points, recently where, obviously you only see this person, like let's just say you fly somebody in. Y'all
Okay.
don't beat
I'm
me up.
not flying nobody in,
Yeah,
but yeah.
I know you're not
No,
flying nobody
no.
in, but you let's say you get a woman, and I know some women probably watching right now, but let's say
Mm-hmm.
you get a woman flued out, right? You get her flued out, so you're gonna try to put on a show, right?
Right.
Like, well, I'm speaking from a man's perspective. You're gonna try to put on a show, right? And because
Mm-hmm.
it's a limited days, a limited amount of days you got here. But I notice even with that, it's just like it's unfulfilling in terms of like why am I doing this so
Mm-hmm.
often? And when I'm done doing it, it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like,
Yeah.
so it's not the end all be all. It's not like this is the person. What I'm saying is this isn't the thing that's going to make me say that this is the person for me at the
Right.
end of
It
the day.
takes
And
a lot more than that.
yeah. So go back to answering your question. Yeah, I would say it's definitely not something that I would, you know, need like
Right.
every day of the week. It's
Right.
one maybe two times tops a
Right.
week. You know what I'm saying? It's good with me. You know what I mean?
Right. And
So
that's probably because you value other stuff. Like I know, like we've even said, you said it on this live, but you've talked to me multiple times. You love a good conversation, right? And you
absolutely
hate meaningless conversation.
right.
So there are other things that you know now, you know what I'm saying, that bring a person in and that are like that you need to be attracted to them, right? On certain levels that can increase your intimacy and your sex drive, but it's not just sex. Like I mean, I don't know why people think that, but I work with a few people. I know some people that, I mean, 50s, 60s, and they're still on that, and it's like,
Still on
dude,
what?
like the empty sex, the
Right.
flying, whatever, you know what I'm saying, like all that kind of stuff, just empty, and I'm like, they're still throwing like the whole sex thing, and I like they're just like so focused on that, but then they get bored, right?
Yeah.
They can be with a girl 2 weeks, I'm bored because they're like, well, I can't have a conversation, I can't do this, I can't do that, and I'm like, no shit, Sherlock, like you can't.
Yeah.
Like you're at the age where a lot of them are successful and have different things going on where it takes more to stimulate you.
Yes.
Right? So what a woman has between her legs isn't enough to keep you stimulated at this chapter in your life. There has to be something else. Like you can lay down with her, but after you bust, excuse my friend, I mean, like whatever, after you release, bust, whatever you want to say, you're just like, okay, what's next?
But Avery, there are some old horn dogs though too that don't
And
give a
there's
fuck about none of that.
yeah.
Yeah, I know what
There's
you're saying. They're a bunch
there's
of old ass men.
absolutely
Yeah.
I
Go
was
ahead.
gonna say about myself, but like no, there's like for me, my experience sexually is a little bit different,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I felt like the more I got in tune with myself, my desire or like my libido has actually gone up, but I
Right.
don't have to have sex, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't have to be, sexually involved with anybody, but if I am with that person or my person, then I definitely want it. But that's just because I think like being a woman, like I told you before, I operated in my masculine for so many years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was really closed off. Like I didn't like intimacy. I didn't want to be
Yeah.
touched. I didn't want to be kissed. I didn't want to be held. I didn't want any of that stuff. So as I started working on myself as a woman, and as I started to connect to my feminine energy, it made me crave and want some of that intimacy because I realized it was healthy. I realized that it didn't make me a needy woman, but it made me a stronger woman, right? And that there is a sensual and a sexual side. So it's that part of myself that I got in tune with. And I was like, ooh, because before that, I was like, oh, I could go the rest of my life and never have sex. Like I literally, even in my 20s, I was like, oh, I would never have to have sex ever again. I'm totally fine. Right. But the more I opened up and became vulnerable, like I said, connected to that feminine, and I constantly work on it, different, techniques, it makes me, it's made me more sexual and more sensual, and it has my libido up. But I don't have to have it. Just like
Right.
I believe in love. I believe in relationships. I believe that women, heterosexual women, I'm a heterosexual woman. I am not the type of woman that says I do not need a man. I do need a man. So even with all of that, but not just any man, right? And I'm not just going to have sex with just anybody. But I do feel like as I've gotten, like I said, into with myself, that like I could not go without sex.
Yeah, and I've heard. I mean, I know the studies on this. And I know outside of you doing the self work,
Mm-hmm.
just biologically, women, from what I've heard,
A little
and
later.
yeah, it goes up, and even post menopause, from what I heard too, as well. For those who reach that point, you know what I'm saying? Just
Mm-hmm.
something that I've heard or maybe read a little about, but
Yeah. It's gone up, but in a healthy way, right? It does not, it literally, that's just like, and I don't want to go there because that's probably too vulgar for YouTube, But if there's something that you like, if you're like, oh yeah, I'd like to do that in the bedroom or kitchen, wherever you're at, it doesn't mean that you just go around and do that with anybody. It just means that it's something that you like, right? So
Yeah,
that's basically what
only
I'm saying.
for you. Yeah. So attachments. I want to talk about attachments.
Okay.
Right. So, and I we kind of addressed it earlier. There was this, and there's a quote that I use a lot, a mantra,
Mm-hmm.
um, from Thich Nhat Hanh, which
Okay.
like helped me a lot, and I always say it all the time. I've done a couple videos on it. You must love in such a way the person you love feels free. In terms of anybody, not just your special person, anybody
Mm-hmm.
that you're dealing with, and just people in general in relationships, and finding out that's the best way for me personally to live my life, because before I felt like I had to have people
Right.
around, and even significant others and somebody I was dating,
Mm-hmm.
and knowing that you're trying to force or pressurize something to be, and that's just pushing them
Right.
away. And I realized also at this wonderful age of 40 that not all relationships are going to last. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's an expiration date on everything, and you're going to eventually part from someone, whether you break up or you die or they die. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
For lack of a better term,
Well, yeah.
it's going to happen. So
Mm-hmm.
I found comfort in that years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't make anybody do anything that they don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that I was like, man, why won't they do this? Why won't they do that? Why can't? And I'm just like, I'm putting my ego in it and ownership and projecting
Mm-hmm.
these thoughts when I don't own this person. This person is their own sovereign being. You know
Right.
what I mean? And once I came to that realization, I'm just like, man, this shit is easy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's easy. Like, it's not that you're like basically despondent or emotionless, or you don't care. It's just that, and I wanted to play that video. The You probably know her name, the actress that played Bernie Mac's wife on his show.
Oh my God, what is
Yeah,
her
I
name?
can't think of her
I
name,
know
but
exactly what you're talking about. I'm like looking at her face right now in my head, but I cannot. I'm horrible with names.
yeah. Well, she did a video where she talks about you know about that you don't care. Like, the older you get, you
Yeah.
realize that you don't really care. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It doesn't really matter
Mm-hmm.
anymore. Let me see. And I realized that was something else too. You know what I'm saying? That I don't. I mean, what's her name? Bernie Mac's wife. Let me pull it up here.
It's crazy because, like you said, we're more empathetic, but you also give less fucks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, you're more empathetic to situations and to people, and you're more compassionate, but you're also, I feel like you're more grounded. And it's like, I call it straight no chase. Like, you don't know BS. You understand the power of letting go, right? So you don't need to have the attachments. You really understand that, like, some things can come to an end. It doesn't mean it was a waste of time. Like, I don't think any of my past relationships or friendships or anything, I don't think any of them were a waste of time. They were all needed and necessary. But I'm also good with letting all of them go. It's just like, I think that comes to your peace, and I think that also comes with your peace as well, and being grounded and knowing who you are. But you just understand the power of letting go.
you summed it up exactly what you said.
Oh,
You
my bad. You can still play the video.
no, no. I'm saying is the fact that and I don't even think I played the fucking video. This is back before I knew how to do
Oh no, and I've never
yeah.
seen it, but
Her name is Kalita Smith. That's her name. Sorry,
and I
guys.
never would have said
Yeah,
that name.
yeah. Her name is Kalita Smith. Yeah, I believe it was on Comedy Hype,
Okay.
where she talks about this on marriage. Don't know if I agree. Basically, she's at the point where she's like, I don't agree with you having to be married. I agree with being in a relationship with someone, and if it doesn't last, hey, it doesn't last. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I'm not, the older you get, which let me I think she says this at the beginning, what you just said, basically what you just said in terms of that, which let me go ahead and bring
Okay.
it up here. I know we got like a few minutes here left. Let me just play this real quick. Share screen, they changed it. Share screen,
I
Chrome.
see Sue in the comments. I don't know who Sue is, but hey.
Sue says she's 51 here, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Sue. Watch out, Sue, baby. Yeah. All right, so let me run that back in the beginning. I'm gonna try to mute this.
Marriage. I don't know that I agree with marriage.
I saw a note that you're a big fan of like Eartha Kitt.
Oof. But of course I am.
What made her like a legend?
Oh
in
my
your opinion?
God, are you kidding? Do you not know her? She's the epitome of a confident beauty.
Okay.
A confident beauty, especially during the time where her skin was favored in the beginning. Easy.
Mm-hmm.
She can act, sing, and want to compromise, especially for affection of a man. You know, you which is part of why I walked away from a relationship that was moving into a realm where it was really all about him. I would have had to compromise. But the great thing was that he showed me how to believe in a dream, and it manifests itself when you do that. And so what that moment or that interview says is that she said he can delight himself in falling in love with me as I fall in love with myself. I was like, ooh, that's pimping.
So
That's pimping. Like, I've never, as growing up as a young Black female, I've never heard that. I come from pimping and hoeing. It's like, don't come back with change talking about I just need to get a soda. I want all my money. So, you know, those kinds of impressions are golden, especially if you can cognitively understand where it's coming from and not just let it be about the mouth, because it's coming from within.
When you touch on like relationships, do you see yourself eventually? Are you single right now or married?
I'm dating.
Do you see that one day that you want to kind of, get that house on the hill and husband and wife? Is that, it could be far away, but.
Well, no, it can't be too far away. Listen, watch your mouth. Marriage. I don't know that I agree with marriage. I do agree with an exclusive relationship where I share my life with a man. I do believe that. I mean, I love what Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell have. I think that's awesome. I mean, they've never gotten married and they are together.
Is that just the aspect of having paperwork with somebody, or just?
I'm not sure. I really think that to be monogamous with one person for the rest of your life, I don't know. But I think what you can do is you can agree and then you reevaluate where you are. You know, I think when you do the commitment of marriage, it's almost like it's a sentence. And it doesn't give you privilege or because you never know who you'll meet. You never know whose chemistry you connect with. You don't know who all of a sudden is just that one. Like, to marry somebody, I ain't met everybody yet. I have not met the king of Dubai. I have not met the king of Greece. I need to meet some more people first before.
What does that person look like?
I mean, that whole royalty out of infidelity. Listen, I gotta take a pole dance class. I gotta in a wonderful time where not only do men get to have what they want, but women do too.
Right. And
I just really think it behooves one to really cultivate themselves before they decide to commit to somebody. And marriage is not totally off the table. I just don't see it going that way. I do see a commitment, an exclusive commitment, a monogamous commitment, but you get to evaluate it after that if you decide something different. And it's just a conversation. We don't have to fight. We ain't got to go to court. The show Snapped is famous because one person shows up to court and it's usually the female because the man is dead.
I mean, that wasn't the part where she said it. I know that was kind of extended,
right?
But just kind of gave you her thought process on things. I don't know exactly what video, but she was like, "You reach a point where you're at the age where you no longer care
Right.
belong. And it sounded like basically what she was summing up at that point.
Mhm.
I mean, and which is some people are getting to that point where companionship is more of a, hey, you want to be with me? That's cool. Not that's cool too. We can have exclusive monogamy, as she said.
Right.
I think that that's dope. I don't think that you should be having a bunch of hoes, in your 40s and 50s. You know what I mean?
No.
To me, that's corny. You know what I'm saying? What are we doing here?
Well, yeah, because I'm like, what, dog? Like, you don't like yourself? I mean, for me, it's a red flag, right? If there is a man, especially of a certain age, and he's still doing stuff that I felt was more acceptable in his 20s or even early 30s, I'm like, you still in the streets. To me, a woman does not want a man that's in the streets, just like a man does not want a woman that's in the streets, right? It's like, can you not sit still? Do you not have peace with yourself? Can you not be alone and love your alone time? You have to be outside. You have to be in the club. You got to be doing this. You got to be doing that. And that lets me know that he's not grounded. I don't want a man that's not grounded. Just like I don't want any friendships where I'm at in my life now. I don't want any friendships, any relationship, right? Whether it's romantic or with a friend, where these people are not grounded. I have to I align with people who have been through some stuff, who are still working on themselves every day. Those are the people that I rock with, right? Because they know who they are, standing 10 toes down. They're not perfect. They're like, this is who I was, this is who I am, and this is who I'm trying to be. Like, those are the people that I rock with. But I can't hang out with chicks who can't sit at home. Girl, you always gotta be gone.
Yeah.
What are you looking for? You're looking for something outside that you're not gonna find. You're wasting your energy, you're wasting your time. And I understood her mindset in that video, right? Some of this stuff, but I understood where she was coming from, talking about in reference to what you were saying about letting go. And you get to a point where you care less.
Yes.
There's just certain stuff that you don't care about. It does not mean that you're mean. It does not mean that you have a hardened heart. We talked about, you do have more compassion and more empathy, but there's just certain stuff that you realize does not effing matter.
Yeah.
Right. And there's certain stuff that you're not going to argue about. I don't want to sit up. I do not want to sit up arguing with no man. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to sit up and argue with my friends. I'm not doing that. I refuse to do that. There is no need. We can have conversations, but the arguing and just certain stuff, bye. Literally bye. Just let it go. I appreciate who you were to me, the time that we spent together, but I'm good. I mean, there's no point in I don't know. There's nothing like coming home and having peace. So there's nothing like spending time with yourself and, and having peace and not having that itch you got to be with just any person, right? Because when you have to be with any person, I feel like the older you get, the more you need to be around people. The type of people you hang out with they're more bottom of the barrel. Because you're desperate, right? You're 50, you're 40, you're 60, and you're still you're desperate for attention. You're desperate to be with people. And so the type of people that you attract, when you give off that energy, you don't attract quality people.
Right.
You attract people who are going to continue, who are taking from you. And I feel like at this age, at this stage in life and at a certain age, you should be having relationships that you add to people and they add to you. If we're not both pouring in some form or fashion, right? If we're not both pouring, go. That's why I said the only people that can take from me and that can bring any type of hell around me are my kids, right? They're young. They're going to take from me, right? They're children, right? I'm supposed to give. They're going to take. But other than that, no. If we're not, I was telling somebody recently, I don't do mess. I'll end it. I don't do mess right now. If we are not making each other better, if we are not adding to each other, then absolutely not. I want no parts of it.
I agree. We go into relationships to give. We got a minute left here, Avery. I'm gonna bring on the big boss. See what his question is real quick, and we're gonna wrap it up.
All right.
Calvin, talk to me, man. What's happening? You gotta hit the mic.
Oh wait, is this Calvin with the toes?
Yeah, that's the.
Hey, yeah. Shoot.
I remember your face. Hey, Calvin.
Hey, how you doing? I didn't get a chance to check out your latest post, Avery. I'll do that after, the live.
Yeah. What you got? What do you got for Avery this evening, Calvin?
No, I'm just saying hi. I'm just saying hello. I'm just saying hello. I know when you got the tux, I know what time it is. Just saying and wishing you a happy belated birthday.
Thank you, but I always got this on, man. Come on now.
No,
Hey,
okay.
Right.
You always got.
yeah.
You're looking dapper, clean.
All right, I got you. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm just giving my. I mean, there are people. I guess I have a different point of view, but I think in terms of monogamy, I know I've been getting canceled left and right. I don't think we are monogamous by nature, even women. Because when I ask the questions and the cheating and stuff, I've had some crazy debates. I'm like, even when it came to the whole money aspect, okay, if the guy's like, Dr. Dre, why are you cheating on somebody who's like at the corner don't have a job?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, so it's just, to me, I just think at a point you just gotta be real. I mean, me personally, I never had to lie to a woman to get what I wanted and needed, especially when it came to the toes.
Hey, say less.
Please say less, Calvin. No.
I am saying less. That's all. That's all I'm gonna say. I mean, I'm just saying is, you have to just come to a point of being honest with yourself and just being true to yourself. I don't think it comes with age. It's just a decision you got to make.
Mm-hmm.
Maturity is not based on age. It's just based on experience and how you move out here.
Yep.
Correct.
That's it.
Calvin, you came with a word. You're right. Like, you get to you have to be real. Like you said, you never had to lie, right? You never had to lie. I think though, like, with not all the time, like we just said, not with age, but with like experience, right? And JR and I just happen to be people who are big on that whole self-reflection and soul searching, right? Mm-hmm. So when you, like, the more you do that, the more you realize, like she said, is have a conversation. You
gotta be proactive.
You just want realness.
It's all about being proactive.
Right. You want realness all around, right? So if it's like, if you get with somebody and you're like, okay, well, no, I am not looking for marriage, right? No, I am looking for a monogamous relationship or something serious because I don't want to date multiple people, but I'm not looking for marriage. You should definitely tell people that, like, up front. You just get to a point, like, you're right. You do have to be real. And I kind of agree with you on that monogamy thing. I think we're not naturally monogamous. I think it's something that a lot of us, just being human beings, that we actually have to work at if you wanted to have like a be monogamous. It's something that you have to put in work for on all fronts. But
now, personally, I believe in the whole more than one wife, but I'm not going to get into that. But to me, it's like that's a personal choice.
Yeah,
that's a personal choice.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to you, Calvin, man. We're gonna go ahead and appreciate you calling in as usual, man. You always appreciate it. Coming with a word, as Avery said. You know what I'm saying? Right. Hey, but you have a good night out there on the road, man. Looks like you hard at work.
Yes, I am. I'm gonna be cooking at TikTok.
Yeah, keep cooking them heifers, as you call them.
Yeah, the modern heifers.
Heifers.
Yeah. All right, bro. Have a good night, man.
Good night, Calvin.
Yeah. Shout out to Calvin. You know what I'm saying? I know we're at a little bit over an hour, Avery. In closing, appreciate you coming on your return. You know what I mean?
Thank you. It was good just to like touch base about life, or whatever, and just reflect. But really quick, what I was just thinking when Calvin, sorry guys, I'm going down another rabbit hole. And if you guys are new and you do not know me, I have major ADD. Okay. So I usually gotta circle back. But when he said about being real and the stuff we've been talking about, I think where we're at, and you get to this point where it's all about people being genuine and being authentic, and you can you respect it, right? Even if you don't like necessarily align, it's like a respect for just being authentic, just being you, real, straight, no chaser, no BS, don't do the finesse, don't gas me up. It's just, you just want it, like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, give it to me straight, because you've spent so much time with all the fluff.
Yeah.
And that's what, there's, I don't know, like, there's just no energy for that. So it's like, you crave realness. And that was just going off of what Calvin said, Mr. The guy that likes the toes.
Yeah. The foot rubber. Yeah. Time is finite. I'm going to end it with a few things. And if you got a few things that you would give to people, I'm just going to, because I covered a few things already. As I said, relationships don't last. They're not Some of them do, but not all of them are going to last forever. So don't
Yep.
get all heartbroken over that. Definitely for me was to smile more. You know what I mean? I didn't start smiling till I was like 34, 35, guys. So just, it's a charity. It's considered charity to people, even though, and what I mean by that is you don't know who's having a bad day, man. Just smiling at somebody can
Yep.
cheer them up. Slow down and enjoy life. Don't try to be the hustle and bustle. It's nothing wrong with being aggressive with trying to reach goals, but you have to slow down and enjoy life. Smell the roses, as they say. Take it all in. Be positive, even if you want to be negative, you want to be an asshole. Anything you do in anger, you're going to regret it. That's just how it goes. So, just be positive as much as you can, even in a terrible situation, man. It just overcomes a lot when you do that. And last, invest in guns, not butter. If you ever seen Baby Boy, we talk about macroeconomics. You don't want to invest in a bunch of Jordans and gold chains and all this stuff that ain't worth shit after you buy it, like Vin Ream says. You want to invest in some real gold, if anything, artwork. You want to invest in real estate. You want to invest in land. You want to invest in things that appreciate with value, which is not something I really, even though I had bought my first house, I think when I was like 24, I should have been more, proactive in, building up my portfolio in terms of things like that. But yeah, that's just something that is in terms of where I'm at 40 right now. I just look back on and it's like, yo, this is what it is. What you got, Avery? Before we get up out of here, Doug, we about to get out of here, man. We're not taking no more calls, bro.
So you know what? You have some good ones. You got some really good ones. I actually agree with all of those. A few that I would say is like one, you don't have to have it all figured out, right? I do suggest talking to someone sooner. When I say talking to someone, it's just because like if you see what's going on around the world,
there you go.
You have a lot of people 40s, 50s who are like taking their lives or whatever because they've been carrying something on them. So I know a lot of us were raised to not talk to not talk to anybody or whatever.
Right.
Get rid of that. Just because you were raised like that, baby, get rid of that because life be lifing and you
absolutely
you're gonna need somebody to talk to. Find out who you are, not what you are, not what you do, but literally who you are. I feel like you have a lot of people who keep having birthdays, they keep having the trips around the sun, and they don't even know who they are.
Yes.
You take away their titles, you take away their roles and responsibilities and everything, and they have no idea who they are. So go on that self-discovery journey and don't get off of it. You know what I'm saying? Don't end it. It's an endless journey. And that goes along with sitting with yourself. Sit with yourself. Literally and figuratively sit with yourself. Because when life because it's going to do it regardless, right? No matter your age, no matter your financial status, anything like that, life is going to life. But the more you sit with yourself, the more grounded you become as a person. For young women, younger women, if you don't know what feminine energy is, if you do not know what divine feminine is, start researching it, right? And tap into that because you live in a world now where you're constantly going to be told to move less like a woman. Other than getting your hair done and dress and all that kind of stuff, everything out there is telling you to run away from what makes you a woman, and that is your superpower. And you can't live a life operating in your masculine. You cannot be a woman and live a full life operating in your masculine. You will continue to exist. And your load is going to be heavy as F, and you're going to be broken, and you're going to be bitter, and you're not going to be able to heal. You're not going to be able to love. Your sex isn't going to be that good because you don't know who you are. So for my young ladies, kind of go against the grain, go against public opinion and popular opinion right now, and find out about your divine feminine and connect to it and research it. And that's a continuous journey as well. Love more, be present, be more present, right? Like I've spent a lot of my years, especially with when my children were younger, I don't even remember. My daughter's 7 now. Yep. I don't necessarily remember her as a baby. I can look at pictures. I took care of her, right? I was a stay-at-home, like I took care of her. But because of where I was at in my life and because I was all over the place mentally and spiritually and everything like that, I actually do not remember those years. And that's time that I cannot get back. So be more present in the moment, even when it's uncomfortable. Just be more present and Everything else, if anything, if it doesn't bring you peace, right? But that goes for you, because if you're not bringing somebody peace, that's on you too. But if it doesn't bring you peace, if it makes you uncomfortable, let it go. Something else will come along.
Absolutely. Release it. So dope. I agree 100% with everything you said, especially that divine femininity, as well as getting to know that divine
Ooh,
masculinity.
that's a big one.
so they can recognize it too. So most definitely dope. Appreciate you coming on, Avery. You know, this has been your return. Are you going to be putting out more content for the people that are watching?
I am. I'm going to be coming back to YouTube officially in February with more videos. I am taking a different stance based on not just being 40, but, you know, I had some health stuff prior.
Right.
But it's like where I'm at now, there's certain conversations that I don't want to have anymore. Right. I don't want to waste my time and my voice and the YouTube platform going back and forth, like what women aren't doing, what men aren't doing, like just all that kind of stuff. There's certain conversations I don't want to have.
I agree.
I'm going to focus this half of this part of the new year on people choosing themselves. And that does not just go for women, that goes for men. People choosing themselves, because of what I'm seeing out here. There are too many people that appear to have it all together, right? And so many people that are empty and that are broken. And I'm tired of it. I am all for whole men and whole women. And that's what I want to focus on. I want to focus on solutions. I want to focus on healing. I want to focus on love, growth, whether it's your professional life, your personal life, just everything that adds to us and it makes us better women and better men. So yeah, I'll be back. And I still will have, you know, like a little bit of foolery.
Yeah, no,
you know, or whatever. And I'm going to open up and actually share more parts of my personal experience and my journey in alignment with various topics, right? So I will be talking a lot about intimacy and sexual wellness and all of that, and my journey and where I was. So I will be a lot more transparent.
Dope. And y'all know where y'all can find Avery at. You see her name. She's tagged in the title and the description of this video, as well as you can see it scrolling down. That's her IG. So Avery Woodley on YouTube as well. That's where you can find her. And with that being said, this has been awesome. I'm definitely going to turn this. I'm going to chop this up into a bunch of shorts, you know, to put up, you know, and throw it up there. So you guys stay tuned. With that being said, much blessings and abundance. You know, this is JR. And of course, we haven't done this in a while, Avery, but you know.
Avery Woodley, and you guys have an amazing, it's Monday, right?
It is Monday.
Okay, you guys have an amazing week.
And with that being said, we're out of here. Hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to her channel. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Out of here. Peace.
Bye.